Welcome back, fellow tamers. This is your King Willick speaking, and we're going to pick up where we left off. Whoops. Honorable Warrior. I call this dishonorable, but anyway. We need 8 Leomon daggers. So, Mario 64, Majora's Mask, and Ocarina of Time were good titles at that time. Sadly, they didn't have Metroid or anything open to classic downloads that I was aware of, so I kept to those titles specifically. But the sad thing was, they didn't have what they have now back then, whenever the first DSs came out. Now, when I got my hands on the DS Lite, I was semi-excited because they had more to offer. But now we were at a total disadvantage, because the 3DS had even more to offer. I mean, their download supplies required more touchscreen compatibility, and their technology matches what they had for the Wii U. And the Wii U was even sweeter. However, they should have came out with this kind of technology back in 2005 when the DS became a thing, because the Wii would have benefited them a long time ago as the next gen technology, and it would have been something that would have surpassed Sony and Microsoft altogether, because they wouldn't have came up with anything like this before. And so far as Sony goes, they're still coming up with PSPs, and I think Vita is a touchscreen, but smaller screen. Yet still depressing. But again, their Vita can be upgraded somehow. But anyway, back to the Wii U's. I've noticed since my next Wii console got destroyed, since my first one got stolen, this one got destroyed, and it's sitting in front of me right now as I'm talking about it. How am I going to explain this one? So, oh, the channels. Some of the retro games that I was looking for were getting taken down faster than I could build them, because when I turned around, Donkey Kong's collection was taken down because of the Wii U system being published out and sold and whatnot. The networks between the old DS and DSIs were coming down, and the Wii U, or the Wii systems I should say, their networks were coming down, and we were running short on supplies, so we had to get everything done as fast as we can, or as fast as we could, because whenever I was playing Metroid Corruption, I wanted to get as much points as I possibly can with friends, and me and my friend Alex came up with this little glitch. If we had set new game, we could save these points between players and then save it into the card itself, rather than having to keep building up on it, because as we keep building up on it, we could buy more things. And we published the idea, try to get it out there, but it was kind of late for us because we didn't have much to go on. But due to the circumstances that we had, crap, that was the wrong disc. Due to the circumstances that we had, we turned around and did it anyway. But yeah, I got everything that I needed from Corruption. However, they could have done better, I should say, because whenever it came down to the graphics were great. Well, I should say whenever it came down to the custom areas, the graphics were great, the gameplay was great, storyline semi-great, but the one thing that I found missing after playing each game, rather if it was Echoes, Corruption, or the original game, they couldn't be straight with the basics. Because I keep missing one thing or another, and the one thing that was missing was the trophies. Yeah, they had stickers and stuff downloadable to the console and whatnot, but it wasn't enough. I needed, like, people grow accustomed to trophies whenever they're playing Xbox or PlayStation 3 or whatnot. We'd have problems, and we didn't have that. We had a simple matter of coming around to downloadable content, rather if it was for a different game or whatnot. And games such as Metroid, it was self-containable because you would have to beat the game so many times during so many frequencies that you completed it on its own. It's become its own manifest, rather if you had your own bobblehead made by your own me or not, which was cool. I like that part, but it was lacking a lot thereof. And I respect them for a lot of things, but the content that they had at the time was very detailed on the game itself and future games around it, like Super Mario Smash Bros. Brawl, or yeah, Super Smash Bros. Brawl was out at the time. I was going to say Melee, but then I remember Melee was on 64 or GameCube. I can't remember. Wait, Melee was on Wait, was Melee on 65? You know, this is all confusing because now that I think about it, time's passed so much that I can't even keep track of it anymore. And yet, I've had every single console Nintendo's put out except for N64. Don't ask me why this happened. It just did. I mean, whenever I was living with my uncle at the time, he never actually paid me any allowance as far as that goes. But, my Pat was the one who actually bought my GameCube. So I went from Super Nintendo straight up to GameCube itself. It was kind of sad, actually, having to skip a generation whenever you could have used that time to put up another trophy or console as a trophy and stick it on your trophy case, which is what I did for Nintendo and Super Nintendo, by the way. But yeah, if they would have had the Wii U's out sooner than the Wii itself, they would have brought a lot more money onto the table than they've got now, because, like I said, it surpassed other systems in this current generation. That technology should have been out years ago. Sadly, I don't know what made them wait or put out like test consoles or whatnot, but it would have been a smart thing to do. Now, trust me, I cannot tell the difference between consoles. Is the Wii U smaller or a little bigger than the original console? Because from what I've seen, you can only lay it on its side, but as far as that goes, I still can't tell. But yeah, there's like a bunch of gaming libraries now that I could possibly put into the system itself if I had another console to build on top of it. But that would take up too much time right now that I couldn't even concentrate. So if I did something wrong, I'd turn that console into a brick at the second. So I'd have to pay attention to explicit instructions and do as it's told. And this information is also being sold online, by the way, for points, rather. But yeah, you could look it up on Google for all that matter. You could actually have a 100% successful unit online as of yet. Even if it's offline without Wi-Fi, you can still get it done within seconds. I was planning on doing this, but I wasn't so sure how I was going to go by doing it, because I only have one USB free and like 3 cartridges of SDs free. And to me that was probably plenty enough, because I could pretty much do whatever I wanted with that. Nagumon's almost up to leveling, which is great because he's almost at 23. And what comes after 23? Let's see, Rise Greymon comes at 25. So yeah, let's talk about Digimon. So after my pap bought me a GameCube, a series came out, and I was there for the whole first season. And whenever I saw the first episode of Adventures, I was excited. I was wondering what the heck it was, and I was like, now I'm going to have to split my consciousness into 2 halves. One for Pokemon, or Nintendo altogether, and one for Digimon. Now, after the series came out, they put out Digivices all over our stores, and it kind of puzzled me on how it was going to get done, because, you know, Japan's the one who came out with the series first before we even did, and it took a long time for me to understand that every anime that comes out was subbed before it was dubbed. And I was unaware of this because I didn't have internet at the time. Well, I should say I did have internet at the time, but I was unable to touch the internet until I was like at school. But anyway, we are done with this quest. We'll come back to the next one. Be right back.